pivot a little bit, get back to some of the micro, some of the fundamentals that we've been hearing. Of course, wrapping up what was a really big weeks here of some of the quarterly earnings reports. It does include XPO Logistics, of course, which released its second quarter earnings, but also announced a little bit of a change in leadership too. Brad Jacobs, of course, planning to step down in the fourth quarter as CEO following a brokerage spinoff. Really pleased to say that he joins us now. I want to get to some of the succession planning a little bit later. First, talk to us about the fundamentals of the company, sort of any reprieve that you see in some of the logistics and some of the shipping costs.
Well, obviously we had a fantastic quarter. This is our 9th consecutive quarter where we beat substantially on EBITDA. And we had a record EBITDA margin of 12.5%. And we had a new record EPS of $1.81 that was up 48% year over year. That partly reflects what you're asking right now, that there's interesting places within the market to make money, but it's more specific catalysts of company-centric things that we're doing here at XPO.
Yeah, please talk more about the specifics, because you're also a rare company to raise your outlook for the year here. What kind of leverage are you getting out from an operating perspective, and where are you getting it from?
So we have multiple catalysts going on right now. We're in the middle of doing a spin. You remember we did a spin last year of our warehousing business, our logistics business, in the form of GXO, and that's done very well. And now we're spinning off our tech-enabled brokerage services platform called RXO. And this will be a pure play of brokerage. And this is a best-in-class brokerage business that's sharply outperformed the market quarter after quarter, year after year. And we just delivered a quarter where we had 16% volume growth on a year-over-year basis. And we're also in the process of selling our European business, which is also performing well, which is surprising to us because, as you know, we're in the middle of a war in Europe. Nevertheless, we had organic revenue growth in Europe of 7%. We had year-over-year EBITDA growth of 14%.
Curious, when you think about sort of that outlook, are you preparing for a recession? It's not lost on us that we're coming off of a huge, strong jobs report this morning. A lot of companies have been warning about layoffs or macro headwinds or preparing for a recessionary environment. What do you see?
In general, things are softer than they were, say, 6 months ago. So over the last 6 months, the economy certainly has slowed down. What it does over the next 6 months, not entirely sure. But my suspicion will be that it'll slow down even more. Maybe not sharply, but it should slow down a little bit more. Why? You have interest rates going up. You have taxes going up. You have regulations going up. And usually that makes, a slower down economy. Nevertheless, with all the catalysts that we have in our company and everything we're executing on, we're looking at a very strong second half.
So question here just about the Fed. People see the Fed raising rates as a way to curb inflation. You have a good, I think, view of how that would impact actual supply chain. Do you see the Fed's rate raising in the logistics world?
Directly, yes, because the cost of capital is higher, so people can't expand quite as fast. So interest rates go up, yes, things slow down as a result of that. Now, that's not entirely a bad thing. One thing that's a good thing about that is the labor market opens up. And one very interesting statistic I'd like to share with you is the number of people who apply for every job that we advertise has gone up 44% on a year-over-year basis. I wouldn't have predicted that even 2 months ago. Why is that? That's because Amazon, Walmart, some of the retailers, they're not competing with us to hire hourly workers as much. In fact, some of those companies are laying people off.
Speaking of talent here, you did announce a big succession plan. You are handing over the reins to somebody you hired very early on. It's a very choppy market. We're looking at potentially recessionary forces in play. Why is this the right time to hand over the reins?
I've been doing this company for 11 years now. And if you look at my track record, my history, I've started 5 companies from scratch. Each of them grew to billion or multi-billion-dollar enterprises. And more importantly, each of them were 10-plus baggers, meaning their share price went up at least 1,000% from when I started them. So here, I've got the company in very good shape. It's performing extremely well. We just had a blowout quarter. And I've got 2 excellent executives that I've been grooming for the last decade to take my place. Drew Wilkerson will run our North American transportation business, which would be called RXO. And he's been doing that already for many years, and it's a no-brainer to put a strong leader like that in place there. And it's equally compelling to have Mario Harek run our LTL business. He was the third person I hired. He was our CIO. He was our chief customer officer. And he's been running the LTL business, which is what XPO will be, for quite a while now, and has done very well.
Really appreciate you spending some time with us here, walking us through the business and that transition. Brad Jacobs of XPO Logistics, thank you so much.